I'm excited to be here for our Faces of Temple Emanuel series with Leslie Hoffman, Temple's Executive Director. Leslie, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. I'm really glad that summer has arrived, although I kind of feel like we missed out on spring. I don't know that April and March really happened this year, but still glad to be summer and glad to be moving forward.
It is nice that it's a little bit warmer out there, though we're taking the joke a little far currently. So let's talk for a little bit about what happens next in the evening. After our conversation, Temple's Board of Trustees is scheduled to meet. Give us a little insight as to what they're going to be talking about tonight.
So the main purpose of this board meeting is to talk about the budget, and ultimately the board will approve the budget to be presented to the congregation at our annual meeting. As we talked about at the congregational open budget meeting, this has been a really interesting time to do a budget. These are unprecedented times of uncertainty. So working with the finance team, we've really tried to be strategic in building a budget based on the decisions that we know now, but with the caveat that we know a lot of things are going to change as this year plays out, and that we need to be ready to respond to that and be able to explain and be flexible as we go forward. This is also the last board meeting of the year, and some of our board members are rolling off. So that's, we'll certainly talk about that. It's also David Weisberg's last meeting as president after 4 years. So this board has really been through a lot. We've been through the senior rabbi rabbinic transition. We've been through the aftermath of Tree of Life, and now a pandemic. So I've been very lucky to work obviously with a great staff, but also with a great group of lay leaders who've really worked through these difficult challenges. And I just have to give a special thank you to David Weisberg for his leadership, his guidance, his friendship, and support through all of this.
It really is an amazing team, and with David at the helm, they've been able to do some remarkable things in terms of listening to, discerning the congregation, writing a new mission and vision. It's been a very productive 4 years.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about life before Temple Emanuel. What kept you busy before Temple was lucky enough to find you?
So many people don't know that I actually grew up in New Jersey. I don't have a Jersey accent, never had it, thankfully. And then after 4 years at Penn State, I moved to Pittsburgh, thinking I'd be here for a few years. 35 years later, I'm still here. I started my first career working at Mellon Bank. I worked in operations management, project management, product management. Did that for about 14 years. And along the way, I met and married my husband, David. And we're actually coming up on our 25th wedding anniversary, which is hard to wrap my head around. I left banking in 1999 when Eric and Philip, our twins, were born, and took some time off. And then I went back to work part-time when they were a little bit older, and I managed the Pittsburgh chapter of the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition for 4 years. And then I was the congregation manager for Dor Hadash in Squirrel Hill for 4 years. And then I came to Temple, and hard to believe it's been 5.5 years already that I've been here. Time flies.
Yes, indeed. Both flies and moves extremely slowly, all at the same time.
Exactly. In the same day.
Exactly. So on that front, we are in the midst of a technological revolution at Temple, pole vaulting us into the digital age, not necessarily by choice. What keeps you up at night? What excites you about the rapidity of this transition to keep people connected during COVID-19?
Sure. So some of you probably have gotten email answers from me at 4 a.m. So you know that a lot of things keep me up at night. But I have been thinking a lot about this instant shift to the digital world that we did in mid-March, and really thinking about how that changes our definition of community. In these 10 weeks, we've seen the strength of our community, both from members volunteering to help other members and members helping to support other members with financial donations. And we've also seen an amazing response to our online worship services and programs. And now the challenge is, how do we keep that momentum going and balance the digital footprint with the physical footprint when we can be back in the building ultimately. Just since we've gone virtual in mid-March, we've delivered 118 online programs in addition to 4 worship services and tourist study every weekend. And that's huge. I mean, that's a lot. That's probably more than we were doing in the building prior on a day-to-day basis. So, but we've seen that people are really looking to connect with us and to find new ways to connect with Judaism, certainly now in uncertain times, and hopefully that's going to continue, as we stabilize a bit. So from my role, I really spend a lot of time thinking about what that means organizationally and also financially as we need to keep that relevancy going forward.
Absolutely. So in those few moments every day or week or year where you're not invested heart and soul in Temple, what do you do for fun?
So I think fun is kind of a relative concept. I'm a big believer in exercise and fitness for lots of reasons, but certainly to also keep your sanity and help release stress. So I used to define fun as going out and running a lot. Now I've defined fun more so walking as a way to preserve my knees after all those years of running. So I do find myself taking long walks. It really helps me clear my head and also disconnect from both work and the greater reality of our world. A lot of things going on that could definitely be the antithesis of fun. I also like to do the New York Times Sunday crossword puzzle in ink, because why do it in pencil, right? One of these days I'll actually finish it. I've gotten close, but that's something I look forward to on Sundays. I've also been watching the Food Network a lot lately, looking for inspiration, because I seem to be cooking a lot more now that our empty nest is no longer empty. And I have been playing a lot with our grandpuppy Mac, who is also home from college. It's been a source of a lot of fun and therapy.
Fantastic. And last but not least, being an executive director isn't a terribly glamorous job. Okay, maybe it's never a glamorous job, but what we're dealing with prior to global pandemic, how's the sewage pump?
So the sewage pump is repaired and is back in the building and is working just fine. Hasn't had a lot of stress on it because we haven't had a lot of people in the building, but it is up and running. I think, it's kind of funny because when the sewage pump decided not to work any longer, I think it was 5:00 on February 26th, not that I don't remember that date, and thinking that that was about the worst thing that could happen, the worst thing that we would have to figure out how to deal with minimal plumbing in the building. And 2 weeks later, we have a pandemic. So I think that's kind of a metaphor for the executive director role, but you just figure it out and you keep going.
Temple is extremely fortunate to have you. I am extremely fortunate to have you. Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.